exactly where it needs to be. And that's close enough. That's good. I'll just sort of bend my knees or just adjust it a little bit better. Okay, that's slightly better. Welcome. This is going to be a cooking stream about tofu. I have three different types of tofu, making three different types of dishes, two savory, one sweet. Uh, it will be probably slightly chaotic. I hope to finish up before 11 o'clock Eastern time because there's a stream that I would like to watch instead of cooking. But anyway, on to the thing. Let me move to the counter view, and that's sort of angled badly as well. All right, can we do this a little bit better? Okay. Um, well, that will have to do then. Okay, so we have types of tofu. Many people are scared of tofu because they've had it prepared badly. And let's see, there we go. And, and I don't blame them because there is a bit of a learning curve. And oh, hi, Knight. Oh, you're totally welcome to lurk. Thank you for dropping by. Appreciate it. Um, we have three different types of tofu. We have super firm, which is often packed in sort of shrink wrapped packaging like this with a little bit of water. We have firm tofu, which is water packed and in a rigid container. That was brought to me by mistake, but we're going to use it anyway. And then shelf stable in a little UHT container. This is extra firm silken, but the important thing is it's silken. And I am gesturing to the wrong camera. That's fine. Basically, the super firm is going to go into a sort of not quite a stir fry, not really, I guess a saute, which would be with mushrooms, portobello mushrooms, kale, garlic, and balsamic vinegar. It's based on a recipe by Isa Chandra Moskowitz in, I believe it was Vegan with a Vengeance. It's an excellent recipe for just the mushrooms, and I sort of kept adding to it until it became a full meal. The silken tofu, even though it's extra firm, will be made into a chocolate mousse. And the firm tofu, which is not really all that firm, as you'll see, is going to be a variation of a corn tofu salad devised by a blogger named Vegan Stoner. I really like this salad, but it is yeah, the name is slightly unfortunate. And let's see, we want a knife. Okay, firstly, I'm going to show the different textures for the tofus. For at least the yeah, might as well do all of them. Okay. Okay. This is the extra firm tofu. You may not be able to see it terribly well. Can I squish? Okay, can you actually see? Okay, you may not be able to see much of the detail. Like so? Nope, nope, still looking like just a big block of white sponge, which essentially is what it is. When I squeeze it, there is water coming out, and you can see it breaking up a little bit. It's dripping as we speak. Basically, that is the extra firm, or sorry, that is the regular firm tofu. There's also a type called extra firm, which is somewhere in between the firm that I have taken out the extra firm. Okay, so this is the extra firm right here. It's slightly smaller, slightly more compressed thing. Um, I don't know if you can tell. Yeah, you can't really see the difference, but just trust me, the extra firm or the super firm is way, way heavier. Well, for its size, at least it's much denser, it's more compressed, has less water in it, and you can see if I go like this with the firm, it goes like that. And if you exert the same sort of pressure on the super firm, it's not going to do the same thing. What we do with the firm tofu is press it to get a little bit of the water out so that so the finished product will be less watery, less gloopy, less. Yes, indeed, Tilly. We do not like watery and gloopy tofu. It's Tilly in the other room having comments about this. Basically, a lot of people use paper towels, but I run my tea towels. Whoop, oh, well, fuck that. Okay, well, never mind about that piece. Where would you, Molsey, would you like the tofu? Okay, yes. Apparently, Molsey would like the tofu. Yes, so we'll just pretend that didn't happen. But since I run my tea towels through the sanitizing thing, oh, he didn't like it. He didn't eat it. Okay, well, never mind. Okay. Throwing away the floor tofu. So, anyway, the tea towels are run through the sanitizing cycle on the washer, so I feel okay using those instead of paper towels. Once you've wrapped the tofu that you're going to press, put something flat on top of it, and then put something heavy on top of it. 5 pounds of flour will do it. Not enough to squish the tofu for real, but just enough to exert some pressure and press out the water. That will make a huge difference in the finished product. In the meantime, while that's pressing, I am going to start the tofu business. Actually, I should not probably start the oven or start the stovetop yet, because I've got to do the veg. Mushrooms and okay. So we've got kale in a plastic bag for some reason. My goodness, that's a lot of kale. Okay. A lot of kale that should have been prepped beforehand, but I'm going to use about half of this. I don't need this. This is a large quantity of kale. And more than we really, really need. To wash that, we have baby mushrooms. I don't like using all the packaging, but they were out of the solo, the big mushroom caps. So this was the closest I could find. So we're just going to have some extra recycling this week. And I will also need to wash the kale. Sorry, I should have done this beforehand, but honestly, this whole morning has been so discombobulated. For instance, I haven't even had my coffee yet. Oh. Sorry. All right, we are doing about. That should be sufficient. Quickly wash the kale. And sorry, I know this is not particularly thrilling watching me wash or rinse off veg. Sorry. It will be done. It will be over shortly. If I were Helen, I would sing to you while I'm doing this, but I'm not Helen. Nobody needs to hear me sing. So, I know some people don't like to actually wash their mushrooms. They feel that it creates too much water, that it sends them up. But I follow the old good eats method, where Alton Brown, back when he was a good person, uh, actually measured the amount of water that mushrooms absorb and determined that it was negligible. So I'm perfectly fine with that. I need mise en place, but let's see. Oops. We will use nice colander. Sorry about the loud noises. Oh, that's loud. Okay. And okay, just for expediency, you don't have to do terribly much to the kale. Just tear it up into chunks that are not too bad when you eventually eat them. And if you like, de-stem them. And it's this whole which is not very measury, not very precise. It's cooking. You don't need to be precise. You need to adjust it to your own personal preferences. Two small things left after this, and then we'll be done. Gosh, I always forget how much just a few stalks of kale makes. Oh well, it does cook down. So you start with a forest of spinach and you wind up with a tablespoon. And I know a lot of people do not like kale. That is perfectly fine. I was on a kale kick when I adapted this recipe, so if kale is not your thing, substitute whatever you want. I mean, it's the whole dish is basically just an idea of something. It's not meant to be. It's not meant to be something that you have to follow religiously. Do not stab. No stabby. That is not a wise thing to do. And I may be making these chunks a little bit too small, but what the hell. Just basically cubing the tofu. Since this is the extra firm, I don't usually bother with pressing that because it's much lower in water content. And sorry for disappearing. I just needed to get a couple of bowls. And they are inconveniently located outside of the kitchen. One day I shall have a kitchen that is actually large enough for everything. But the reason I like doing mise en place for this, even though it messes up a lot of bowls, is that it does kind of speed things up. And so big chopped tofu. And the other thing is the mushrooms. And we'll just do that separately. And sure, here. Usually I do this with portobello caps instead of the baby bellas. In that case, I usually just slice them thinly-ish, kind of, into long strips. But yeah, the point is basically something easy to eat without having to cut it, and something reasonably quick to cook. As I believe I've mentioned before, I am not a precision knife person. Theoretically, I should be making these more evenly sized, but that is far too fussy and precise for me. Oops. Okay. And just 3 more mushrooms. And then after this, just have to swish some garlic. And again, the garlic does not have to be particularly evenly cut. Sorry for the rattling. I have a little garbage bag here so that I don't have to keep opening and closing the garbage drawer. And I will use, as usual, the amount of garlic. Actually, I'm going to turn this off first. A little bit. Oh, let's not point the knife at ourselves. That is not good practice. Okay. If you're watching this to learn good practice, then I'll help you. Oh, hi, Shard. Hello. Yes, welcome. Hope you're doing well. We are busily chopping and discovering that some of our garlic is unfortunately not happy. This one's good. This one's good. This one's okay. I think 4 cloves should be sufficient. That's that one. Those are fine, but they're small, so I'll use 5 total. Basically, any and all of the ingredients, proportions, whatever, can be modified as you wish. The garlic will be sauteed. In fact, I think I shall go ahead and start heating up the pan now. Okay. There will be a bit of a loud noise. I think. Do I want to use my knife or something else? Coffee. Coffee. Oh, coffee. Okay. So, a bit of a loud noise when I whack the garlic. And one tried to escape. Right. It's still wrapped, so I'm calling that clean. Okay. And peel. Oh, little sprout. Take out the sprout. And take out the. You need to be swished. And excellent. Peel. Peel, peel, peel. Come on. Thank you. And more. And basically roughly chopping. And size, you can sort of leave up to your own personal preferences. If you're very proper in the kitchen, then you know, dice it or chop it appropriately and into reasonably equally sized chunks, but that's a little bit too proper for me. Just rinsing the garlic stuff. And we have the thing. Garlic does. Wasn't actually any sound from the smashing. Excellent. That is encouraging. I just never know for sure. Okay, I think that might maybe be okay. Yeah. Maybe. And after this, let's see, can we actually? Oh gosh, every single streak on the stovetop is showing up. Woo! Excellent. Try adjusting just a bit. There. Okay. Yes, please. The stovetop is clean. It's just glass takes streaks. Really badly. All right. Bit of oil. I am using avocado oil because it is rated well for medium-high heat. I think the original recipe by Isa called for olive oil, but I tend not to use olive oil anymore in things where the heat may be getting a little bit high. Yes, I know, it's scandalous, Tilly, isn't it? And basically, oh, hello there. Yeah, hi. We want. Okay, going to gently do heat up the garlic a little bit, and dump in mushrooms, and those need to saute a little bit until they are soft. And that will take a while. So, gosh, everything looks so washed out on the screen. Why is it so washed out? Okay, maybe. Okay, that's a little bit better. Fine, not great. Well, I will adjust. I'll figure something out at some point. Yeah. Okay. In the meantime, and we're going to move on to, yes, oh, multi. That's a multi there. Yes. Okay. We're going to move on to the tofu corn salad. And I need that is sufficient for. Okay. And we are moving the action camera back to the lovely bowl. And at this point, we are hoping that our pressed tofu has been sufficiently dewaterified. Yeah, okay, it's much less watery. It's still squishy when I manipulate it, but better, much better. And you up here, so you can dry before I wash you. Okay, and this was originally created by a blogger named, or who goes by the name of Vegan Stoner. They specialize in inexpensive, cheap, well, inexpensive and cheap, yeah. Inexpensive, fast, easy to put together, really good tasting food that is unsurprisingly vegan. And this is basically, I'm going to do something. What was I going to do? I forgot. Oh, I know. Sorry. Stirring the mushrooms. Oh, okay. It's starting to smell really good. Hopefully the sound of the mushrooms is not going to be too loud. But hopefully, I hope you can still hear me. Or maybe you don't want to hear me, but that's fine. Either way. So, essentially, you crumble the tofu, and then you take Veganese. Woohoo! I am not sponsored by Veganese or Follow Your Heart, but I do think that they are the best brand of vegan mayonnaise. And for my taste, at least. You don't have to use vegan mayonnaise if you're not vegan. Use whatever you want. Substitute any other sort of thing that you think might be good with a similar consistency. And basically, that's roughly 2 large serving spoons or 2 spoons of stuff. And essentially, you're doing this for the same reason that you add mayonnaise to like tuna salad or egg salad, to add a little bit of fluffiness. And then it's simply fluffy. Back in the fridge. And we need nooch. And nooch, don't know if you can actually read that, but nutritional yeast flakes, which are a standby for vegan cooking. It's basically, again, to taste. I like I'd say maybe that's 4 cup-ish, kind of, maybe, somewhere. Basically, a good hearty shake for it. And can I actually get in here without knocking over the camera? Whoops. Oh, good. Whoops. Sorry, the lid of the pepper and salt grinder. Salt and stir the mushrooms. Oh, they're being hit nicely. Coming along well. And actually, I'll use half pepper, half thingy. Aha! I have an exciting new seed spice, grains of paradise, which are supposed to be somewhat like pepper, only more subtle and more interesting. Yeah. Okay. First time I've tried that, the grains of paradise. So we'll see. Hopefully that will be good. And there's intake. And then this is really a super simple, super cheap thing. Spinach, which I'm using frozen. Mostly thawed at this point, not really all that thawed stuff. Alright, just pretend that we shall pretend that the spinach is fully thawed. I tend to use frozen because, firstly, fresh spinach goes off at an alarming rate, and with frozen, I can always have spinach on hand. And that's coconut. A few later. And corn. As I mentioned, this is hugely, not a hugely fresh recipe, but it does actually have veggies, including a can of corn. And we need I don't know. Oh, come on. Here we go. Okay, the mushrooms are getting a little bit. Okay. Mushrooms are indeed browning quite a bit. So, pushing them off to the side and maybe add a little bit more oil. I'm going to switch to olive oil at this point because I think I'm running low. And adding the tofu. And basically, gosh, that's getting loud. Sorry. Basically with the tofu, you let that saute and brown a bit as well. Well, okay, it's not strictly a saute because I'm not actually making it jump in the pan, but you know what I mean. So, opening the can of corn to the side. Sure, if I can actually. Okay. Straining off the water. Okay. And I like a lot of corn in this, so one entire can of corn. Very elegant. And this is where I sort of diverged from vegan stoner. There is a oh, you did not see the corn go in. Whoops. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and scrape that a bit. And then the last thing which I like to do, not in the original recipe, is the 1980s favorite strips of sun-dried tomatoes. It just makes it, to me, it's just a nice addition, and it gives you a little bit more fruit and veg in the actual meal. And I'm going to give it a taste and see if more a little bit more foam. And then basically it looks kind of like a nut. If you want it more cohesive, you can add more mayonnaise or veganese. But it's actually really very simple, very good on a sandwich, the same way that you might make an egg salad sandwich, or I have been known just to have a scoop of it with nothing else, honestly, because it is. I mean, it provides several different veggies. It has protein from the tofu. It's basically it's basically essentially a full meal by itself, and it's cheap, it's fast, and it's good. So I feel like we can all use more cheap, fast, and good foods. Just stirring the tofu a little bit, so it's getting stuck a little bit. But you can see when it's looking over, that the tofu is starting to brown. I wonder if I might actually need to turn on the fan just a little bit. Nope, that's not doing much good. Alrighty then. That will be dealt with in a minute. Okay, so while the corn tofu salad is finished, yay! I'm going to put that over here and cover it while I'm doing. Oh, still no, I don't have reusable. All right. Sorry, I was hoping I had a reusable cover thing, but apparently I don't. There we go. Okay. So, refrigerate that later. And one more stir. This is actually getting reasonably close-ish to seasoning. Okay, pardon me. Sticking a little bit, but I think it should be okay-ish. Almost time to add the kale. That means that I will need the cover for skillet. Where's the cover for the skillet? I do not know where the cover for the skillet is. I'm going to use another pan. Aha. All right. So basically, that is. I'm going to call that more or less done-ish for the tofu. And I may not actually use all of this kale, but we'll see. Cool. Pile the kale on top. Or whatever greens you're actually using. I think that's going to be a gracious plenty. Yes, it will shrink down, but in the meantime, that's a lot. Turn down the heat with my, you can see my lovely makeshift lid. It works. That's the important thing. It works-ish. Not an exact fit, but hey, whatever. Okay. While that is reducing down for a bit, I turn the heat down to low, so things won't scorch, but the residual heat hopefully will help to wilt the kale. If you're using spinach, it will not take nearly as long to do that. But kale is, as most people have discovered, slightly tougher. Last thing that we're going to do, we're not quite finished with that, with the tofu mushroom business, but last thing we're going to do is the lovely tofu, silken tofu pudding. And apparently, I have the recipe on my iPad, and apparently I have left the iPad in the other room. 1 moment, please. So sorry. Et voila. That is not what I needed. Okay. This recipe is one that I have not actually tried before. Nope. I don't want to join New York Times Cooking. And in fact, if it makes me create an account, I might not be using this. I just want to use this one recipe. You are doing this, you need to go. Fine. Pop-up blocked. Show. Yes, fine. Sorry. I checked this recipe earlier and everything, it let me access it with no problem. But now, seriously, no, seriously, I just did. I just created an account. I have to. Okay. So sorry. Wants me to sign in with my Apple ID. Honest, honest to goodness. Okay. Who am I? This is the sort of quality content you get on my channel. Watching me create an account for New York Times Cooking. Woohoo! Yeah, so sorry. If that is my password. No, it is not. Oh, for fuck's sake. Fine. We just won't use that recipe then. Alright, I swear I looked up a recipe and it was working beautifully earlier. Alright. Fine. Then we shall just be incredibly boring while we're here. Okay, so instead, we are going to, instead of the New York Times, then we'll see what you're doing. We are going to do something when it actually loads. Are you going to load? For fuck's sake. Okay. And okay. I will adapt this one from Connoisseur's Veg. And there. We shall close that pop-up. I'm really annoyed with pop-ups. So, the essential things here are chocolate chips, which must be, if you're making this vegan, make sure to check chocolate chips for nastiness. These are slightly stuck together because of the heat. Okay. Okay, so they're slightly stuck together, but chocolate chips. Dairy free. There are some good allergy friendly brands out there. The doggo hit the cover. Oh yes, Mulsey definitely hides everything. I think, yeah, everything that goes missing, I blame on him. Which reminds me, let us move this over. Here you can see that the kale is wilting down. It's not quite done yet, but just going to give it a little bit of a nudge around. Keep it sticking. No, get back in there. Thank you. But yes, it definitely has reduced down. Just going to let it go for a few more minutes. Okay, so we have back to the pudding, or the mousse, rather. We have tofu. We have chocolate chips. We have, oh, they want cocoa powder and maple syrup and salt. Maple syrup. One maple syrup. Oh, here we go. And let's see, cocoa powder and salt. We've got salt right here. Cocoa powder is, yes, indeed, Tilly. Thank you. Okay, just getting the cocoa powder, which is, of course, at the back of the cabinet. Stay there. Okay. And cocoa powder. And actually, the other recipe that I was going to use was supposed to be Mexican chocolate, so spiced. So, okay, good. can actually open that without causing problems. So I would like to use, let's make sure that this chili powder is actually mostly just chilies. And okay, I don't really want cumin and garlic and oregano or oregano. So chili, okay. I think, if I recall correctly, I should have some additional types of pepper powder. Adobo seasoning. Nope. These are all mixes. Damn it. Ooh, vanilla. Okay. Why not? I have a jar of vindaloo seasoning. It's coriander, garlic, cumin, ginger, cinnamon, brown mustard, red pepper, jalapeno, cardamom, turmeric, chili cherry, black pepper, and cloves. I'm going to experiment with this. Okay. Fine. We are making vindaloo tofu pudding, chocolate tofu pudding. I don't. That's probably a horrible idea, but why not? I might as well. Okay, we are melting the chocolate chips in a bowl. So we need to. They suggest using a food processor, but that's going to be super loud. So I'm thinking, I don't know. I might actually go ahead and pull out my food processor. What? Why does that? Oh, that's water. Okay. Okay, I was wondering why the counter looks so filthy. It's actually just water. Fine. Okay. One bowl. We're using 2/3 of a cup of chocolate chips. And of course, I got out the half cup. Do I have a third cup? Not. So we shall use this. Okay. And 2/3 of a cup. Oh, okay. That's okay. Okay, 2/3 of a cup. And then I dropped, I believe, two. I see. Yes. Pick up the ones that I dropped before the dog who is resting over there actually does anything with them. Yes, thank you for not noticing that I dropped essentially poison on the floor. There we go. All right. Microwave in 30-second intervals and between. Start. And then I do believe, sorry to change gears, but I do believe that the mushroom kale business is pretty much ready for the last step. Yes, thank you. Very loud beeping. Thank you very much. Okay, the last step is vinegar, which is, oh, where are you? Yep. Sorry, this may take a moment because it's in the dark. And oh, honestly, please. Yep. Okay. Seriously. There we go. All right. Sorry. Had to make sure I was getting the right one. So, balsamic vinegar, this is not the super expensive vinegar thing. That is very thick and viscous. Well, actually, this is reasonably viscous, but it's perfectly fine to make this um, with regular, just knockoff balsamic vinegar that is essentially sweetened red wine vinegar. But you want enough to have it for it to be a bit sharp and to reduce down into a glaze a little bit more. And I really like vinegar. Yes, Tilly, thank you very much. Thank you. You've made your point. Thank you so much. And essentially, you're just reducing this to a little bit of a glaze now, making it a little bit more fragrant, a little bit browner, because brown food is the best food. It tends to be comfort food, at least for me. So that, honestly, is just about it. I'm going to see if I need any salt. Ah, ha, ha. Ah. Could do with a little tiny bit of salt. And basically, that is it. Again, it's sort of a one pan or one pot meal. It's well, it's less cheap than the tofu corn salad, but it is very good and one of my favorites. Getting another bowl, sorry. Someday I shall actually be organized and do everything mise en place beforehand. But I'm going to just scrape. That's a lot. Okay, so basically, this is how the tofu mushroom business goes. It's one of my favorites. I've given it to people who don't like tofu, uh, uh, with their permission, of course. They have consented to try it, and the general reaction has been rather promising. But now we return back to the chocolate, which needs to be stirred, and has just had enough time to cool down. 30 seconds more. And in the meantime, do I want to use the food processor or should I actually? No, don't burn my tongue. Yeah, see, sorry. I think, do I have a thing? So I would use my immersion blender, but I don't think. Oh goodness, who makes these things so high? Yes, I know. Thank you. Ooh, you're getting warm. Sorry. Close door over so that people can actually see Um, I think probably could get away with this if I just stir it. Although I'm going to let it cook or let it heat for another 15 seconds, I think. But only after I get the Cuisinart down here. It's very high, very heavy. Okay. And voila. Yay. If you are familiar with modern Cuisinarts, you're probably thinking, what the hell is this? Ooh. This is a Cuisinart from the late 1980s. Can you actually see? Yes. Basically, this was one of the first few Cuisinarts that my parents bought back when I was a teenager. They have since upgraded to modern ones that are fancier, and they have passed their old ones along to me. Here's the hockey blade. So basically, even though it is older than very few people that I know these days, it's still going strong. And now that I've said that, it will, of course, die. But you know, it's a sturdy, hardcore machine. I'm pretty sure that you could also make this recipe with a cheaper immersion blender, or indeed, probably a regular blender, if you don't mind stopping to scrape down the sides a lot. And because of the food processor, there will be noise involved. Basically, you squish the silken tofu into the food processor, and some of it gets stuck, and you swear, and eventually it comes out. Yes. Yay. Deal with you later, and I'm going to. If you were here earlier for the comparison of types of tofu, this is extra firm, shelf-stable, silken, but it is a very different consistency. If it were soft silken, which is what this recipe usually would use, it would be squishier when I touch it, but there's much less texture, I suppose. It's very different, but that is why. Well, essentially, do not use shelf-stable tofu in a stir fry. It will disintegrate. It's not a good idea. Okay, we have 2/3 cup chocolate chips, which needs to go for a few more seconds. Oh God. Oh, okay, good. Autumn just got a push notification that Autumn is live, but it actually says just testing some settings. Please ignore. So yay, that's good. Then we add all of the ingredients, including the melted chocolate, which probably should use a spatula or a scraper thing. Okay, this is going to be sticky. Okay, so melted chocolate chips. Then next thing is cocoa powder and maple syrup. We need a tablespoon for that. Thank you very much for keeping me company. Tablespoon. 3 tablespoons cocoa powder. And what that would be in grams, I should know, but I don't. So, if it's super important to know the volume, know the mass-based measurements, then please let me know. Oh, hi, Annal. Oh, well, thank you for dropping by. I appreciate it. I was assuming that you would be extremely busy, and I just realized I had the stove still on. Whoops. We're in the last stages of making the final thing, which is what is it? Oh, chocolate mousse. And oh, and you are here in time for me to way over pour the maple syrup. This is why they say that you should not measure directly over the thing that you're going to be dumping the measured item into. Well, it'll be very sweet then. Yeah. And oh, sure. Well, that would be it. The VOD is available anytime, and well, theoretically, assuming I remember to back it up to YouTube, then yes, hopefully. But just nice. It's just nice to have people drop by. So thank you. I appreciate that. We are doing maple syrup. We've done the cocoa powder. We need salt. What do you think? Well, sulfur here is live. Quarter teaspoon. That'll be good. Okay. Why? iPad just changed, skipped down to the comments for the recipe. That's not what I wanted. Thank you. Yes, indeed, Tilly, you are correct. And I agree totally. And there is about to be some significant noise for a while because food processor and also dog. So, not too horribly loud. Essentially, okay, we're going to need to scrape it down, but essentially, you either blend or process until all of the little white specks in here are pretty much integrated. You can see there's a little bit.
Here's something I found on the web.
No, I was
According
not.
to DannyWeb.com, each number is printed with one call to print.
Computer,
by the way,
cancel.
Canceling.
How? How did I invoke Alexa with that? Oh God. Okay. Fine. Whatever. I don't even know. What was I saying? Oh yes. Basically process until all of the little white specks are integrated. And that will take a little bit of time. And I'm going to get one, hopefully. Okay, that's looking much better. It's still, there's still some white specks along the edges, but I think one more thing will do. And it's not strictly speaking a proper mousse, but it's close. Okay. Cool. I think that's sufficient. Except I forgot to put in the freaking. You know how to refine a recipe. I was going to make Mexican chocolate pudding, but I don't like my chili powder that I have. Substituting vindaloo powder is really bad, a really bad idea, right? Because I'm kind of tempted to do it, but the more I think about it, the more scared I get. Bad idea. Okay, we will switch back to the regular chili powder then. It just sounded fun, like an experiment, but then I started second guessing, and probably that was a good idea to second guess. Okay, fine. Wrong type of chili heat. Fine, that's what I was thinking. But if you don't experiment, you don't do fun things. Okay. Uh, just a little bit. Fine. You probably saved me from a complete disaster, so thank you. Okay. Good. All right, that is good enough for our purposes. And I only have a couple of dishes, suitable dishes that are clean at the moment, but you can eat this pretty much immediately, or you can refrigerate it to let it be more solid. Actually, to me, that's probably about enough. I may only need one more dish for this. Uh, if you want to be fancy and actually have the decoration options, shaved chocolate or strawberries or basically anything that you would normally put on uh, put on a pudding or a mousse sort of thing. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Would be good, but nope. Instead, I'm going to drop the spatula on the floor. Sorry, today apparently I am just dropping everything. Okay, all right. That was elegant. There's still some more pudding left, but I will deal with that later. Put this food processor away really quickly, and then essentially, it could be good. There's a likelihood that something marked as vindaloo powder will have other spice. Yes, it does, definitely. Um, but then my chili powder is not pure chili powder either. I mean, it has additional other spices and herbs. So that's kind of what gave me the idea of swapping it out to something else. Move the thing, knife, and line up everything that we have done. If I can find where I put. Ah, okay. Spinach, tofu, mushroom business is looking a little sad now because it's cooling off, but okay. So is that more or less kind of not? Nope, nope, nope. Okay, that's close enough. So we have the three things that we did today: the chocolate chocolate mousse with a little bit of chili powder in it, not vindaloo, thanks to Anil saving the day. We have the lovely mushroom tofu kale business with balsamic vinegar and garlic, of course, never forget the garlic. And we have the vegan stoner tofu, spinach, corn, and sun-dried tomato salad ready for making sandwiches. Oh, and Autumn still hasn't started her stream yet. Excellent. So, yeah, chili powder in the US is different from chili powder in the UK. And oh, thank you. Thanks. Appreciate appreciate that. It's good, particularly the tofu salad. Super cheap, super easy, super fast, no heating required. And so anyway, that is it. I actually took less time than I thought I would. Excellent. I would I would raid, but I don't. But autumn is not up yet, except for doing the testing, and I don't know if raids are allowed for non-rusty quill people. But anyway, uh, thank you all for dropping by. Please do. I think everybody here already knows. Well, already knows Discord. Already knows Rusty Quill. Ooh, um, actually, I can mark you and Discord. There. Okay. So we have links. And Daytime Ghosts, do you stream at all? Or would you like because I can do a shout out if at all possible. And thank you for dropping by. Um, I appreciate you keeping me company. That's lovely. And don't hear anything from Daytime Ghosts about streaming. So if you do, then I will do that next time. Oh, and okay, we have an old but all right. Thank you. I will see you all later. Have fun. Have a great Sunday, and take care. And where am I doing this? Okay.